Welcome back.
Welcome back to Queen City Clash. After a wild map 3 between the Champlain College and Ohio University, we now find ourselves spectating the University of Cincinnati Black team versus Texas Tech University. Texas Tech having a probably 14-hour travel time here between car and flight, and they're coming here ready to play. So we're hoping to see them perform well in this game.
Let's take a look at the bans here. So we have what, a Farah ban, and did you guys catch the other one?
Yeah, so TTU banned Anna
and Farah.
Banned Farah.
Okay. What are our thoughts on these bans?
I don't know how I feel about the Anna ban. Anna isn't particularly played a lot on this map. I think she's a hero that's better used to save that ban for longer range maps. So on Oasis, she doesn't really get used a ton. Farah ban I don't hate, but it's also kind of a lot of close maps. It's nice to have that ban on Garden, which is the map we're going into first. But having it banned, she does not play a ton on University and City Center. She's not terrible on it, but I feel like those bans could have maybe been saved a little bit more. Looks like both teams are opting for more of a dive play style here. Key note the thing for Black, their main hit scan, Guitar Master, actually couldn't make it this weekend, so they do have Epic Gamer, who is mainly a support player, filling in here, but I do think this is going to be a very competitive match.
Certainly, and it is important to keep in mind with our banning rules that we are following the OWCS rule set, so you do have the option to protect ban, you have the option to ban one character, but you can't ban it later in the series. So important things to keep in mind when talking about the bans, but we do see both teams coming out on the dive comp. UC Black establishing control on the high ground, but TTU promptly taking it back.
And Irrational goes down to 1 HP. They're able to stabilize the Genji. That's a good move from the Lucio onto the Winston, preventing this dive. But Genji is going down low. Yeah, Irrational falls first, unfortunately. It looks like Lucio gets traded, though, by Samson. That's a good play on Epic Z, right? 4v4 on point. Looks like TTU does have point control, though, just to start out. That's a good dive from Blur on the Diva, just trying to get that high ground.
4v4 on point.
Trade's still coming out.
Nitro gets caught out by Clance. And you see Black eventually bleeding. TTU taking the first control
They will
of
have
the
to
point.
disengage. Key thing to note for this next fight, at least, is Samson is coming up closer on that rush. That it might be the first dot we see online, but this is some really good positioning right now for TTU.
Yeah, big thing too is that these are mirror compositions. Oh, as I say that, they swap over to the Torbjorn, but I was going to say the main difference is the Diva and Winston, but it seems like there's going to be more of a counter dive kind of strategy here on the side of UC Black. So we'll see if they can live these engages and hopefully Irrational on the Torb.
Looks like Winston does use that bubble early, putting in some good pressure. But Black is trying to take that high ground. Diva does start to fall low, getting some good Torb damage in though.
Something we want to see with the Torb Diva is, honestly, they should be looking more sort of Wiki up when he jumps in.
Another trade here.
Sharmat finding an important kill onto Samson.
First does it trade it back. Lance gets traded as well by Epic Gamer. Epic Gamer gets 2. Those are good plays. Will they beat him on the Fury as well?
3.
He does. That's a good play by Epic Gamer. Maybe able to turn that fight.
He can do it all. Flex support, hit scan DPS.
Flex
He was
DPS,
looking
Genji.
good in scrims. Looks like both teams are coming up on that rush. Lance is close to that primal. That might be the next ult we see online. So we'll see how these teams use these rushes.
Yeah, ultimate fight's going to be interesting here. Want to see how they use these Kitsune rushes up on both sides.
Looks like TTU is opting to play from low ground. They might look for a Winston engage onto the high ground, maybe play from one of the sides. Good damage from the Fury. Epic Gamer falls low, but yeah, Sojourner gets pulled through. Looks like they're taking left side. Winston jumping in aggressive.
Side of UC Black here.
That's a good pick by Flowermat on the Epic Gamer. That's a lot of damage out of the fight there. They might be able to turn the Torbjorn as well. Kitsune gets used. They do have beat on the side of UCal Black. They feel they need to use it. Clance is going deep for the Torbjorn though. I like that play getting the kill, but he's really far out of the fight. There might be enough time for UC Black to turn this.
MBK playing his life. Beat comes out from Epic Zero trying to flip this fight. They do have numbers right now on point, but the point is in control of UC Black.
Yeah, the longer this fight goes, the better it is for UCal Black. Good for both Lucios go down at the same time. Lurse does have that mech. Yeah, he's using that self-destructive mech. Good! Oh, Epic Gamer with the diff. Goes down to the mid
and
though.
a deflect kill. Looks like now they've invested ultimate, so they really need to win this fight because now they're just getting like
TP Suzu forced on Samson. Will they be able to find him out? They do.
Will Lucio be able to find this kill? MBK is 1 HP.
Scrappy fight.
The longer this goes, still the better it is for UCal Black. They're already at 72%. It's been one fight. This is second fight. It's already 75%. Nitro goes down though late in the fight. We'll see if anything is able to convert it. Epic Gamer playing this aggressively. We'll be able to win the Sojourn. He does it! Okay. Good play by Showermat. Epic Gamer does find the trade with the Sojourn, but that's a bad trade for Black. They might just lose this out slowly. Blurst is staying on point with the Baby Diva though.
Yeah, Texas Tech really needs to get these kills now. The trades have gone their way, and now they do get the flip. So now
Blurst
they want this to go on for a while.
Actually getting his mech back. TTU taking control at this point, but the side of UC Black does actually have a decent re-engage here. Ultimate's coming up on the side of TTU being rushed. They're coming up on the blade as well. So your TTU trying to take a final point, maybe reestablish control of the high ground.
River, do you think they should go for a dry fight here, or would you want them to use the rush on the side of UCAL Black?
On the side of UCAL Block, I think they should try. They would have to money this big last fight territory. They want to commit that rush there.
But you can see that's a
Boyd's
good
gonna
move
come
from the Lucio though on the side of UCAL Black. They re-engaged with the rush. I like that aggressive play. They got both ults out of TCU and they managed to live. Irrational taking main angle on Torbjorn, that would be some good damage. Blur's pressuring the back line, trying to keep that the heals out of there. Looks like Curie is being used to try to keep that angle alive. But Black turns the point. Nitro goes down though.
Nitro going down close to beat.
This is still last fight territory, though.
Turning that point was the lifeline, though. Black is able to stay in this a little bit longer. They're able to flip it if need be. Blur's grabbing that mega. NVK is falling low. We'll see if anyone's able to trade him.
Black restabilizes.
Samson goes down. That's the worst set you possibly have. Irrational falling really low on the Torbjorn as well. They do have Primal Rage on the side of TTU. This is going to be a bad touch from Blurs, unfortunately.
They do get the beat off in time before Blurs gets demagged.
Black has a better beat here.
Blurs needs
Oh, and that's a huge boop if he gets off the map.
That's a good boop. Yeah, both soldiers just get traded out, but it looks like the Primal Rage is getting used by Clams. Nitro likely goes down here. Let's see what he does. And that might be it. That might be everything that you put back with the show. Blurs is keeping point, but yeah, he doesn't have the bomb. He's not going to be able to keep it.
Close round. Very
Nitro.
scrappy too. It seemed like there was like non-stop fighting. Always trades going in and out. What's the analysis? How can we dumb this down? Because that was a lot going on.
Nick, how are you feeling about the Diva into the Winston?
I think the Diva into the Winston played a lot into their point pressure. I believe that it allowed them to hold control of that point for so long, but it did make the retake a whole lot more difficult. You're actually relying a whole lot more on your Sojourn being able to take a quick angle in main to actually convert a kill while playing that Diva. Your Diva's going to buy you time, but she's not actually doing much when TTU is in control of the point.
Epic
She
Gamer
can
is
heal.
doing a pretty good job on the Sojourn, but Shiremat is definitely putting up a fight. We saw, especially in that 1v1, where Shiremat with like 1 HP was able to get the trade.
We do go over to the other dive map where we do see mirrored comps once again. Irrational finding himself on the Genji instead of the Torbjorn though.
I think I might like the Winston a bit more here. There isn't really too much for the Diva to do. You can kind of mark the Fury heals, but there isn't like an honor or something to eat the nades of.
Yeah.
So it looks like they're opting to play for the high ground on the side of UCAL Black. TTU happy to just play point side. We'll see how they decide to trade this. TTU will have point prio when the point opens unless UCAL Black drops. Flourish should probably drop on a point like he does actively, getting some pressure there. Just a 5v5 still, looking for poke. It's probably going to be the Sojourns are the characters that we're going to look at the most here. It depends on which one of them is able to get trades. Blur starts to fall low, though. His armor is almost shredded. Clam's playing pretty aggressively. It does have to jump out.
One thing Blurs could do well here is win the tank trade with the Diva Winston here, but it looks like Clamps is getting more help on the point. So we're really just waiting for like some pick to open it up here, playing very neutral. And there's the
That's
Genji.
a big issue from Genji. Good boot from Nitro, though. He boots the Winston down as well. Blur's just 1 HP in the mech, though.
That Genji hit does draw enough attention for Blurs to drop low, forces the Suzo on the side of Samson.
Blur's still 1 HP. Both DPS on UCAL Black. Epic Gamer's in a bad spot. He does fall. NVK 1 HP. We'll see if Irrational's able to find this kill. He isn't, unfortunately. Fury is on point, goes down as well. That's 2 picks on the side of TTU. This might be the fight.
Yeah, and they're just gonna look to clean up kills here.
I think that with the Diva variation of the dive comp, you're kind of relying on it to scan a little too much. I think there's nothing for you to follow up on really.
This is going to be a
That's
brutal
going to be
stagger.
a terrible stagger. They're getting the body block set up as well.
Oh, they killed it. I don't think they should have killed it that early, but they do have the rush online for the side of TTU. They do have that ult advantage. I don't know if they know that Samson doesn't have it yet, but they also have the overclock of Shiremat. Shiremat has a 30% ult advantage. That's a side effect of playing into the Diva. There's no bubble for them to shoot into, so she's able to just keep farming the tank over and over, gets a lot more damage. And Irrational making the trade over to Tracer. I don't hate the idea. With Lurch goes over the Winston as well. I think they definitely could mirror this comp, but maybe Irrational is a little more comfortable on the Tracer. Getting marked by both supports right now. Lucy's doing a good job of marking the Tracer. Nitro goes down early. He has beat too. That's such a bad pick on the side of him. They do have Clock active. Clock goes down though. That's a good rush from Samson. We'll see if he's able to turn this. Gets mashed by Rusher on the side of Mobilized.
Maybe Ultimates can even this fight up a bit, but as I say, that Clamps is gonna push Epic Gamer into the street, and that pick is probably gonna be the opening the floodgates here.
Yeah, UCAL Black needs to fight
Texas
fast.
Tech.
TTU still has point. Tracer needs to get out. Yeah, we'll see if Irrational's able to escape. He had the recall force out of Blade. He'll play until he get his way out. So important note, TTU does still have Blade and Beat online. Nitro has Beat, but it might not be enough to win this fight. So again, River, do you think they should go for a dry fight, or do you think you try to use your Beat, try to get both ults out and go again?
I think you have to commit ult at this point with how the percentage is getting up there. I think it's best of their best interest to take that fight with the beat clock versus waiting.
They're making an aggressive play to top that high ground. Rational not there to follow up on it. Gets Suzu out though.
And the blade's out here.
Kiriko falls. Look, Kiriko's 1 HP. That is a pick there. We'll see if TCU feels the need to match that beat or not. They might still use it. We'll see. Epic Gamer falls low. Suzu gets forced. Samson falls. Had his TP forced early. Beat gets used. That might be enough for TCU. They have a lot of sustain in this comp. It's a 3v4. We'll see if UCAL Black is able to get back in this. Nitro probably has to force to get the touch here. No, it looks like Seamus on point. But Lucio goes down though, 3v3 on point now.
Pick.
No ults online for either side. Are they able to find the Genji on the Mega? We'll see.
And that's his second pick. Nitro is gonna go down to clamps here.
You do have that clock coming in from an angle soon, actually, on the side of Epic Gamer.
Blurs has
Yeah, I wanna see
Primal
that
Force. We'll
overclock
see if
it.
Blurs is able to find something. Kiriko gets her TP Force. He has Primal low. Winston is falling low. Clamps is falling low. Kiriko's low as well.
They do get
Sour
the
Mount, 1
full
HP. They are able to find it. They get point flip as well. That's a lifeline there for UCAL Black. A good boot from the Lucio though. Samson goes down. They might still be able to win this with
This is
TTU. I kind of want them to play
dangerous,
aggressive. They are 3v4. They can keep going. Clock gets used on the side of Epic Gamer. We'll see if he's able to turn this. He needs to kill that Winston though. Primal gets used. He just falls. Yeah, this might be the
Wow.
end for UCAL Black. Does a really good trade out on TTU on that disengage.
Yeah, they were just able to win with the better trades there.
Nitro has to get touch here. He's getting chased by the whole team. I don't know if he's going to be able to get it. See that Lucio moved. Oh, good touch by Blurs on the ball. We'll see how long he lives. They don't really have much damage though. He's just kind of playing the sustain game. They don't have any ults inside UCAL Black. So Kitsune Rush is coming up soon, but that rush might be enough. We'll see. Nitro gets a good touch once again.
Continue rush on the side of UC Black. We can maybe see if they can get a good touch here.
Nitro falls down. We'll see. Showermat is close to that clock as well. Important to note. 5v4 right now on point. It's 5v3. Black
looking
is
rough.
falling low. Suzu gets used. Genji, yeah, everyone's full HP on TT. It's really hard to find a kill. Yeah, that might be it. Clock gets used. That's the nail in the coffin right there.
Well played by TTU there.
That was a good dive matchup, though. Those teams look pretty comfortable on it. I think that for UCAL Black, the Devo, it might be a comfort pick for Blurs, but I think that Winston's kind of needed in that mirror. You get farmed way too much by the Sojourn, and you don't really do enough into the supports.
On that map, there's way too many angles that get opened up. It's hard for you to not just take damage and require resources from your
Devo
supports.
needs a lot, and once your armor goes down, it's really hard to get you stabilized.
With that being said, it's also a very easy point to hold. So the first team to cap the point definitely gets a lot of point percentage advantage there. So that was a big advantage there for TTU.
And definitely important to note there, with that ability to hold the point super easily, UC Black did have a lovely re-engage. They didn't need cap the point again, as well as taking a couple trades, but I think there had to be there was a little too much haste on the side of UC Black. They did not actually stabilize, which allowed TTU to have a proper retake.
Yeah, they did a good job of opening up fights, but when fights kind of came drawn out, a lot of times Sansa was getting picked on the Kyrian trades, Nitro would go down to Winston, Blurs would overstep maybe a bit, have his Primal Force, get out of mech, maybe be 1 HP, have to jump out and not be able to get carried fast enough. So I want to see maybe the DPS as well do a little better on UCAL Black. They're not doing bad. Epic Gamer's putting up a really good fight right now, but I feel like Irrational hasn't really been able to get much value out of his ults yet. I didn't see any pulse bomb kills when he was on the Tracer, so I think him and Blurs need to do a bit better of a job communicating on their dives. They weren't really on the same target a lot. We saw a lot of times where UCAL Black was trying to take high ground on City Center, and Irrational was just on point, just shooting at the supports, which isn't bad. You're forcing cooldowns from them, you're forcing resources, forcing attention, but you're not able to actually kill anything solo as a Tracer and Lucio Kiri. It's really hard.
Yep. Yeah,
So-
I will say I was expecting a lot less from UC Black personally. I think they're looking decent, but it was definitely a better matchup on Garden when the dive came out. It was a lot closer than it looked, I think, because it's one of those points where you can contest for so long. But definitely they wasted some of their opportunities with not playing the point when they got the flip.
I think too, if they're gonna run the Diva comp, I think they want to run the Torb versus a Tracer again.
Yeah, they
There's no
tried it on
follow-up.
Guardian, but it might have felt kind of bad because it's really hard to retake with that comp. So
True.
they should have maybe stuck it out and tried to just get cap. It looks like we are going to go to hybrid. It looks like TTU is banning Hollywood. I'm probably expecting a Kings Row pick from UCAL Black.
Yeah, for
Everyone
sure.
goes to Kings, so.
Certainly.
I'm excited
UC
to see
Black,
what Bans
formerly known as a brawl team, but they've honestly enjoyed that dive look that we saw on Oasis a whole lot more recently.
They were looking pretty
so
good in
what-
scrims earlier this week, running the Winston on a Tracer with the Lucio. So we'll see if they opt towards that at all.
It'll certainly be interesting to see that the map that they go here might default back to that Kings Row as a comfort pick, especially with having Epic Gamer in instead of their typical hits game Guitar Master.
Yeah, it looks like they are going to go to Kings Row. Bans will be interesting. Black, I believe, does get first ban because they lost the previous map. I don't think they really need to play for Protect ban necessarily. They haven't shown any heroes that TTU hasn't. Aside from the Torbjorn, if they want to try to protect ban the Torb, they can, but it doesn't seem like they want to play that super bad. Like, it doesn't seem like they're really trying to play for that as a win condition.
Yeah.
That was more of just like a late switch. So we'll see what they go for ban-wise. What would you like them to ban, River?
I think we could see. It's hard to say because we haven't seen any brawl from them yet on stream, but I think we could definitely see a Maga ban. I think that could be in the cards. I know it's a little bit out of their comfort. I don't think they've ran much Maga. I think they definitely like their Macho more.
Tyler, how are you feeling about the Genji matchup?
I think was there a Genji matchup?
There
It looked
was,
like
yeah.
it was mostly Torbjorn and Tracer.
It was Genji for a lot of it. Rational started Genji both maps. They might, yeah, it looks like they are going to ban Maga. So we'll see what TTU decides to ban. Nick, how do you feel about a Torb ban?
Torb ban on this side of TTU.
Yeah, looks like we are going to get
Torban
it.
does come out from TTU,
Yeah.
so that's
Can
likely
predict
to
the future.
force them onto a more brawly style. Maybe,
You definitely see some May.
probably
What?
see a May and a hit scan.
I was gonna
here
say,
on
I
the side
like-
of UC Black.
I like
May
the
hit scan
irrational
brawl.
May a lot.
I like the Ram probably look from them.
Yeah.
They'll have to be careful of where they decide to play, though. If they don't try to clear the high ground and TTU is playing on it, it's going to be kind of hard to clear that. But yeah, I think it's probably going to be a Ram May from UC Black. I don't know what TTU is really going to opt for. Didn't really get a chance to watch them much in qualifiers. So, Nick, what do you think we're going to see from them?
On the side of TTU, I know earlier during qualifiers, the Swiss stage of Queen City Clash, it was a lot of the hazard meta.
Yeah.
Torb meta was beginning to develop. Both of those characters since Fallen Out, come in. So on the side of TTU, I will like to see the developments here. They're definitely known as a brawlier team traditionally, but they did show a strong dive look on both City
And
Center
they
and
did
Garden.
ban Torb, so Torb is pretty good into dive. They might look to run the Genji again. That's a character I'd be keen on seeing again. See how Nitro is able to handle playing the beats into the Genji. See if he's able to keep getting those, because he did a good job shutting down that Genji
sure.
with the. Especially he had some really good booms when the Genji was in a small room. So he has been doing a good job marking the Genji, but they might want to run it again. MVK looks pretty comfortable on it.
Yeah, his plays were mostly just forcing the beats, but that's just value in itself.
Yeah.
And I did like seeing that from him.
I like the Clamps Winston a lot too. A lot of value was getting used with the Primal Rages. So I'm interested to see if he still plays the Winston on King's Row.
They might on attack. I think defense are probably gonna
Yeah,
opt for more of a
it's
brawl
it's
style,
it's not as
though.
popular of a hero, but it definitely can still be played on King's Row. I don't know if that's the style they want to lean into, or if they are just gonna do the brawl. But either way, I think Texas Tech has been looking good, and I think they can run a good brawl too.
These
So-
teams are certainly pretty close in matchup. I think the tank matchup is a pretty close one. Clamps was doing a really good job, especially with those primals, like you said. It wasn't really a fair matchup. The Blurst was on defense for most of it, but Clamps is looking really good. So it's going to be kind of hard for Blurst to match that.
True.
Blurst does like his Ramattra, though. So he might, if he's in a brawl mirror, might be a bit more comfortable. Rational as well is really good at May. It's
True.
probably one of his strongest heroes. So if they're able to force a brawl mirror, that might be a better look for Black, but their dive was pretty strong. So I would be interested to see. They're probably going to run Lucio Kiri again. I don't think they really played that much Juno. They played a hint of it in scrims,
Yeah.
but they haven't played it a ton.
Yeah.
And we are going on a technical pause for a brief moment.
I personally would love to see some of the Samson Ana. I think Samson's Ana, like Samson, I think is a very good mechanical player, and I think
True.
the
Ana highlights that a lot.
the Ana would happen. It's definitely kind of a niche character to pick in a lot of situations.
Especially in Brawl.
Yeah,
She's strong, she's just greedy.
Exactly.
As Nick would love to say. He loves that character.
yeah.
but
Nick,
she
you
only
would have a lot
works.
to say about
They love
Ana,
the flank.
but
Okay, listen. She's a strong character or the worst character on the map. It's one of the two. Very greedy option. And
Mobilize hovering the
When
Ana.
you get that feel, you know you get that feel.
Yeah,
And
they're walking on
Mobilize
it.
does look like they are.
The
looking to
Alari
take
pick
this
is
Ana pick.
interesting. I want to see
Alari,
Alari
I like the
probably
Alari
play
on
with.
King's Row.
Probably wants to play with Ashe a lot.
Yeah.
At least set your pilot pod on the Ashe. You can move to a different angle if you want, play your own value, but it's going to be hard for Black. Black's going to have to do a good job of clearing this high ground. If they fall victim to a lot of the teams doing Kings, where you just kind of play main, you just like sit around statue and just try to poke the team out. They're probably not going to win this. They have
No.
really good poke on
this
the
is
side
a
of
really
TTU.
good poke.
This is lovely poke, and it's gonna
We
be
are
really
going to see
hard
the
for
May and a Winston.
Interesting.
perhaps
going out
some
with
early
the
scouting.
dive.
Perhaps
Yeah.
some early scouting from the side of UC.
I don't
Black
like the
into
May
this comp.
Winston together.
And
all
May
that much.
Winston is kind of counterintuitive, I feel like.
You might
We'll
want to find
see.
yourself
Yeah,
on
I
this
Winston
Genji
for
instead
the
of the
fact
May
that he
here.
can disrupt these high grounds, especially with the poke they have set up. I think that is value.
I think Irrational should be on a Genji or a Tracer though
Yeah,
with
that's
this.
true.
We'll
Falls
see.
low. He doesn't have ice block yet. I don't think they're going to be able to clean up Irrational. Blur's doing a good job to clean that high ground, though. You can see that TTU already had a lot of people forced off of it, forced back. Blur's just kind of overstepping, though. Will he be able to get out? He's 1 HP. No, he's not able to get out. Epic Gamer falls 1 HP as well. That's going to be 15 seconds off the clock at least. Lance falls low. I don't think he's going to find that trade, though. I think Black needs to look. That's a good kill by Epic Gamer. Black needs to look to blow up this Ramasha a little bit, I think. I think the way they need to play is Blurst needs to just put pressure on the high grounds. He doesn't necessarily need to go for kills. He just needs to put pressure on there while the rest of the team plays the burn. Irrational does make that switch.
They need to
over
go
the
now.
Genji.
They
I
have
like
the
that
pick still.
switch. Samson has a lot of nano building up as well. They still need to go fast. You can see Blur's engaging on the high ground. I couldn't tell who they were jumping on. I can't tell where Lari's playing right now, but Genji is playing in the hotel. Yeah, they are trying to clear that high ground angle. Genji is pretty deep, though. Genji falls low on the side of TTU. Irrational's in HP. They're
He's
just
just taking
stabilize.
so much poke right here.
They're stabilizing for Nano here. Might be looking for Nano Monkey, maybe a Nano Sojourn on the high ground.
They need to go fast, though. Mobilize is close to
All right, and
Nano
there's the
as well.
Nano. And a nade goes in.
Nade found on the back line.
That's a
Massive
nade
support
too.
stated by Samson.
There's that
First able to get
Samson
one.
Ana
Will
I
he be
was
able to get the
talking
Ana? I don't know if he still has a sleep deck or not. But they are playing the fight on point. Nitro does fall. Irrational's able to find the Alari, though, and it's a 4v2 on point for UCal Black. They just need to burn this Ramattra and clean up the Genji in the backline. The Genji is able to trade up for Samson, but Samson gets the kill as well. That's good trade from Samson. It's good for the attack side. Just make sure
That
you
was
get
an
those trades.
amazing play
That
from
was
Samson.
a great play from Samson. Like I said, I think this guy's a great Ana player, and that was just a really good nade to on top of the Winston dive. Honestly, I don't even think they would have needed the Nano with
Samson
the big
does switch
purple.
over to the Q, which is interesting. I think that Ana's getting a lot of value, but she's not great on streets. I think if I'm TTU, I'm trying to get off of Alari as soon as I can, though. She's like kind of pretty bad.
We're on a
at
very diveable comp, and
Yeah. They kind of.
see Black's on
I
full
would
dive
like
right
to
now.
see the Lari swap to the brig.
I want it to be a Brig, a Lucio,
See
or
a
maybe
Brig or
a Curie.
Curie.
Yeah, I don't think the Curie is as needed because they're off the on and on, so you see Black. Seamus, Blur's falls really low.
Yeah, that sleeps rough.
NVK gets traded out though. If they're able to just stable this and get back in and wait for players to come back and then get back in, they do have the D and the clock close to the primal, but TCU has the ults to sustain this if they need to. They have 5 ults online, 5 ults, but Genji is still dead. So if they're able to take this fight fast on the side of UCal Black.
UCal Black opening up that right lane. Forces support resources while this Ramattra is.
I like this disengage though. Shiramaut uses the bot really early. That's good to buy time, get their Genji back. I think it's a good play on both sides and disengage. Rational coming on the blade though, so they're close to 5 ults on UCal Black as well.
Something I want to mention, I actually like the monkey on first point. I think it gets a lot more damage.
NVK with the blade. Nano blade gets used. Samson has TP for us. We'll see if he's able to hunt down the Soldier. Looks like he is. That's a good team wipe on the side of TCU. They need to clean these kills up. UCal Black is looking at us. That's a good trade from Blursto on the Alari. If they're able to disengage, Blursto's probably get that. He's staying in. Alari, the Curie falls down the side of UCal Black. Blursto's going to get traded out here too. I don't know if I like this aggressive
This is
play
gonna be a
from
long
UCal Black.
stagger.
Yeah, this is really bad. You're having like 30 seconds burned off the clock. If Blursto's able to get out, that'd be good, but he's just staggering.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that play from UCal Black all that much. Primal got used. It was a good trade if he didn't get out from it, but I don't know if that's worth the ult.
And now, if we look at the alts here, UC Black does still have 4 alts to the 2 on the side of TTU, but those are 2 pretty good alts, so we'll see how they are used in this trade.
I don't know how I like the Diva swap. I guess it's probably for the Ana in the ad. Yeah.
I don't think it's horrible. It's better than
Here comes the rush. Yeah, they just
Could
need
just
to
be a
take
call
the
for this
tempo.
point.
They use clock at the
TCU
same
fighting
time.
the rush extremely well for not having speed. He engages with the Ilarion. Diva looking to
gets
eat that.
used
He
on the
comes
side
out
of
from Nitro.
We have the Genji 1v1.
Genji 1v1.
DK comes out on top.
No ults left on line for either side aside from that irrational blade, which is dead right now. We'll see if TC is able to clean this fight up. They have full HP. UCal Black is bleeding some resources, but they're stabilizing currently.
And I said this was successful for TTU. They won the ult trade.
And they have Nano
Card
and
hasn't
Blade
really
online
gone.
again. Nano Blade, they're probably
Yeah.
going to use this initially. It's just good to go. We'll see if they Nano the Genji. I'm expecting it really soon. This is probably a Nano Blade. Yes, Surge gets used to slide, instantly falls. Curie gets her TP force. Rational counter blades. I don't know if I like that blade either. There's no way he's winning into the Nano Blade. I think this has been some pretty bad ults since UCal Black to be honest in the streets phase. They wasted a lot of them. They had 4 ults at previous fight, used Rush and Clock at the same time. TT was able to kite both simultaneously. They try to match the Nano Blade with Blade. You're probably never going to win that one.
Ult economy's cooked here for UC Black. They're coming up on a Diva Bomb, but that's not really a game changer or anything. A Kitsune Rush might be soon, but with the Bob, I think there's going to be another fight win here for
I think UC Black is trying to do a better job of the map. I really like this play, trying to clear the high ground on the side of UC Black, just getting them off of there. But I want them to like maybe put their Sojourn up here. Their Sojourn has been playing main a lot. She's not really going to find resources. Macha's doing a good job of controlling that high ground. But yeah, they're just getting poked out a lot. They have to play these a little bit faster. They need to get on the back.
Yeah, they need to get on, and that's why I kind of like being on the Winston here, because they can get on the back line quicker.
Rational
Right
goes
now.
down. See if they're able to find any more inside of TTU.
I also think the Genji into the Ana Lari backline with the Dynamites and Ash is kind of just hard to find it in.
Yeah, if you're able to get on top of them, you're able to get the kills, but it's really hard to do that.
Yeah.
And I think Epic Zero's been doing a job of just making angles. He's making it really hard for them to kill the Ash on the side of TTU. They don't have many ults. UC Black does have both support ults out. They always have the clock. I don't want to see them not overlap all the ults again. It's okay to maybe use the beat and the clock simultaneously, but yeah, they need to rush first, which is good. They need to try to find something here. It's a good bob from Shower Mat just to stop that aggression, though. They are able to find Clamps, though. That's a really good pick. He was close to Nemesis. Let's see if they're able to get any more. Nitro gets traded. They trade both supports on the side of UCal Black. That can't happen.
That's awful.
That might just be it. Epic Gamer might have to use block earlier than he wants to. Lurs is doing a good job. He's going to be able to hold this point for quite a while, especially with that self-destruct. It's just Lurs left on the side of UCal Black. Has that bomb force. He needs to try to touch this point as late as he can. He needs to sustain for both the supports to get there. So he hasn't touched yet. He still needs to touch the point, right? He needs to get off now. Play for that beat on the side of Nitro. Royal gets used. Good beat from Nitro. I don't think it found Blurs though. Blurs goes down. It's just the supports alive on the side of UCal Black along with David D.
And with the Nano Blade, that's just
that
gonna
might
wrap it
be
up.
it, yeah. See how long they're able to sustain. Yeah, it's just too many ults on the side of TTU. That's not winnable. Black is making a lot of the same mistakes that we saw earlier. They're doing a good job of getting in on fights, getting first picks, but they're just getting traded.
Yeah.
A lot of that time it was just both their supports got traded. I didn't quite see what happened, but it looked like it was a Genji Olari engage on the back line, which I think they probably did from top left.
Yep.
But it was a good engage from the Olari. The Olari is working better than I was expecting.
Yeah, I think the Genji play from NVK, right? I think the Genji play is just phenomenal looking right there. That's a lot of it opening up, but I think also the backline and Shower Mat being able to play so far back and kind of bait these engages and kite them away to split the whole team of UC Black. It's just like does such a good job at splitting their entire team up, and no one's on the same target. And that is a situation that the NVK Genji will thrive in and be able to get those trades.
I think you count Black is playing a lot for their Sojourn to get picks.
Yeah.
Versus Ashmere. But if the Soj isn't getting picks, it's really hard to make it work. He's had some pretty good overclocks, gotten kills with it, but the Bob into every single rush. That's really well played by Shower Mat. He's stopping every single rush with Bob. UCal Black just can't aggress unless they burn that Bob. And they're playing really pokey. So it looks like UCal Black is hovering the Juno Lucio. I said this earlier in our game again when we were watching two teams earlier, but Lucio Juno is really good at like taking space, but not great at holding it.
Sure.
So if they're attacking, I'd like this a lot more. But Juno doesn't really have that much ranged healing, so I don't know if they're really playing for high ground with the Sojourn or with the Mei. Maybe they're just playing around statue and playing to
playing the
aggress.
flip point.
Yeah, they could be. I think Curie or maybe like a different support in that slot might be a bit better. Yeah. Maybe a Braid on the side of Nitro, play a little bit more sustainable. It seems like the comp wants to do a few different things.
TTU finding themselves on the hazard comp that they found themselves so comfortable on during qualifiers. NDK Genji was mentioned, and during the earlier stages of qualifiers, he was missing. They had a substitute in at the time, but now their Flex DPS MBK is now able to play at Queen City.
They forced their Macho to pick up Black on a point really early. He falls really low. Still forced on point. The Hazard's doing a job playing high ground, and Samson falls first. This is what I was saying about the Lucio Juno. They're not really able to hold that space.
Yeah, I don't like them giving up so much space.
And into the Hazard is pretty tough. It's a lot of work from Nitro. He's to do a lot in this round. He has to be able to engage his Ramattra from the backline, because Ramattra has to the backline in order to get value out of it. He has to stop Ramattra engages, or sorry, Hazard engages. He has to stop Genji engages. He also has to carry his Sojourn angle. So he has a lot of responsibilities in this comp. Samson doesn't really contribute to the fight that much. Yeah, these are interesting map switches from the side of UCal Black.
I still think TU's backline is a lot stronger with the Ana Lucio. Ana can support the hazard a lot better and give opportunities to engage with engage.
UCal Black needs to take this pick fast. Epic Gamer goes down. They need to be careful not to second stop too much. They can maybe try to find trades on the way out, but I want them all to disengage. If everyone else goes down, this might just be bad because of how far that card didn't make it very far. Yeah, Rational goes down. That's such a bad death. Nitro's going to get caught too. Yeah, he's down as well. These are really good kills from the side of TTU. I like them taking space.
If
do you think they should get
more,
3 cart here, Nick, or do you think they should play aggressively and try to hold this space?
I think you try to find this trade on the hazard quickly, put a couple on cart, and then that should be the map.
They definitely have one
Smartly
push
backing
cart
off, that way they don't get caught out though. They are ahead on ultimates, so they should just be able to take a nice ultimate fight on cart. You do want to see TTU open this fight with a couple ultimates first though, because on the side of UCal Black, many of those swaps made behind on ults.
Yeah, the Hazard gets used early. Lucio gets one shot. That's such a nice play by Clams. Good shot from him.
That clam.
Very mechanical tank player. Gets two. These are just good plays from Clams, and that's just going to be the map. We'll see if they're able to find Blurs as well. It's up to Blurs to try to touch this point. Blade gets used from MDK. UCal Black keeps bleeding out, and that's it. UCal Black definitely put up a better fight at control. That might just be a map type sort of thing though.
Yeah.
When you have control, it's really easy to like just keep staggering percentage.
True.
Kings Row, their first point attack looks pretty good. It was better than I was expecting it, but second point they just kind of ran into a brick wall.
I think
with
the
that
Diva was
Omari.
tough on the second streets. Diva and Winston, it's just hard, especially into the. They had a strong TTU had a strong front line with the Ram, Ana, Soj, and their back line with Alari, like just sitting in the back. You can't really do much about it.
I would have liked UCal Black to maybe play a bit more to the brawl. Maybe Blurs
Yeah.
isn't feeling super comfortable under Moucher right now, but I think putting a Rational on the main might be a bit of a better look for them.
Yeah.
They did fall apart on first point when they had the May, but again, they weren't playing it super comfortably. Blurs got native really early, had his resources forced, had to drop the point just to touch it, which is good point pressure.
True.
I think they it has to be Blurs to touch the point, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
they were just able to, and then Slam just makes good plays on the back line, gets the one shot on the Juno, and it's just
True.
over.
Yeah, TTU showing out early, especially on that hazard comp. Clamps does seem very comfortable on that. Him getting that nano in the late
one
fight.
shot?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
he
one
was
fight.
shot immediately. I mean, he was a very
Clamps.
mechanical
They got
player in
Clamps.
qualifiers. I got clamped by him a few times in qualifiers, I can't lie, so I feel bad for my guys that run UCal
That-
Black.
yeah.
That's a good showing from TTU. They are moving on to our winners bracket. So good showing from them. They definitely made a statement here. UCal Black will unfortunately fall to the losers bracket. We'll see them again later today.
I
See how
believe they
how
will
they're
be
able to do.
playing Ohio Esports in the lower bracket, Ohio
That should be a good
University.
match.
So UC Black looking to redeem themselves down in the lower bracket. TTU progressing.
Give them a
believe
little
they-
cope. They are missing their hit scan. I think Epic Gamer is playing pretty well for
agree.
being new to the hit scan. He was doing a really good job in Shermat, someone that we know is a very mechanical hit scan. Let's have a really good fight in that role. So, but it might also show a little bit of limited flexibility because Epic Gamer plays a lot of Sojourn, but I haven't seen his Ashe yet.
Yeah.
I don't know if he will be able to play against better Ashes. I don't know how their flexibility is going to be.
And that will bring us to a break where we will find several of the people casting actually playing in the next game versus Miami University, and we will be back with that given enough time.
Yeah.